Good evening everyone, and thank you guys for those of you who are subscribed to my blog, and a blog in which we talk about tough issues that we're dealing with in our community and how we can build back to better families where there's less crime. Alright, so my topic tonight is about manners. Yeah, respect and courtesy and or lack thereof to our older people. Alright, so tonight I want to say, first of all, to those of you who are out there that are being respectful, I personally know of some children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren that were very respectful to older people, to their grandparents, their great-grandparents, and who made time for them. And no matter what, how far away in the world they were. For example, I have a niece that she went off to law school in England, and she would still make the time to call back and check on her grandfather and see how he was. And I was so impressed with that, that even though she was working and going to school at the same time, she made the time to see how Granddad was doing. That was impressive. Then tonight I also seen a little boy. He was like 6 or 7 years old. He was like 6 or 7 years old, and he saw a man coming in a wheelchair, and this little boy ran up to the door, opened the door, held the door open. The little boy, like I said, he was small. The door obviously was much bigger than him. He held that door open, leaned up against it until the man in the wheelchair was able to be pushed through it. Now I was impressed with that. There it was, a show that some of us are still teaching our kids some respect and courtesy, and I was moved by that, and I'm very encouraged by that. But on the other hand, I'm also very concerned that we're losing the Cayman way of life, of manners and respect that we had for the older people, I was so dismayed. I was standing somewhere a few nights ago, and I was talking to an older person, and it was these kids go across. It was about 12 kids, like little pairs of twos, right? And they go across, and and forget about me, because I still consider myself, I guess, young. There was an older woman standing there, and those children did not say, "Good evening, ma'am, how are you?" None of that, courtesy and respect. And again, when I was growing up, we were not allowed, we knew better than to cross an older person and not say good evening, good afternoon, ma'am, or sir, whatever. Yeah, but what's happening is, two causes of that is many of us as older heads, we're not being courteous like we used to be, alright? And I think part of that is because, one, we're now, Cayman's a multicultural society, right? And whereby we have 100 and something plus nationalities here. And many of those people have come to our shore, and I know personally that I've said hi, good evening, good afternoon, good morning to some of those people, and they never brought it back to me. They never did. But that's okay, because I know how I was raised, and that is that even if I did not know who that person's name is, or where they're from, or nothing about them, I just know that they were another human being, and yes, they might do things that I may not agree with, but all I knew is that I wanted to be respectful to that person and show them courtesy, because they're still a human being, and say good evening, good afternoon, whatever to them. Acknowledge that they were a human being that I was crossing. So, but many times I did it, and the person, the stranger that I was crossing, never said a word to me. But again, that was okay, because I know how I was raised, and I want to practice courtesy and manners, because I think that's what made Cayman a very unique place. Like, I have some good friends in the U.S., and they come down often, and sometimes my nieces go, there was one time where my nieces went out on a boat with them, and these people came back to me, and they were so amazed. They were so amazed at the respect and the courtesy that my nieces showed the woman. The woman said she was asking them questions about Cayman and, you know, where to go and who's their family and whatever. And the responses back from the young, and they were probably, I don't know, 8 or 9, whatever. The responses back was, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. And these tourists were so impressed, and they said those are the kind of things that they keep coming back to Cayman for, because of that unique culture and manners and hospitality that we have. But I'm very concerned now though, I am very concerned that we are fastly losing that hospitality, that manners, that courtesy. I'm seeing a lot of our younger generation growing up, and I think a lot of what's causing it is we were allowing our kids too much to be influenced by Hollywood, too much to be influenced by bad manners and disrespect and the violence. And I give you a classic example. I've sat and watched like Disney Channel with some of my nieces and nephews, right? And there's no violence, and I've watched parents that say, oh, but it's not violent, or it's not sex there, it's for kids. And that's true. But I've watched kids being spoken to, reprimanded by their parents and these same Disney channels. And these kids would walk up to their room and slam their door while their parents were talking to them. Now, honey, I'm not crazy. I would never, not that crazy, that I would think about slamming the door and going to my room when my parents spoke to me. And my parents didn't abuse us, and the people of our generation, when we got a good slapping on our backside, that was not abuse at all. That was just a good little spanking to tell us that they didn't approve of being disrespect to them. Them being those people who kept the roof over our head, fed us, clothed us, kept the lights on, put food on the table. And when we had to be reprimanded, we get all riled up about it. No, honey, that's not good. That's not working. And what's happening is our children are going in the workplace, and they don't think they should be spoken to, yeah, and because they're taking it from home to the workplace, yeah. And even in churches, yeah, I believe, trust me, there is churches that's even scared to death of speaking to reprimanding young people, no matter what's about. They're scared that if they speak to them, they might not come back to church. Now, can you believe it? So we're becoming a very self-centered, materialistic community in which our kids are just growing up and thinking about them. Forget about courtesy and respect for someone next to them, and especially older people. So I'd like us to get back to where we start teaching our kids, and us adults start practicing it, and get back to where we're showing especially older people some courtesy. All right, because and we've got to, and I've watched, I personally know people that just get so consumed in building a better life for themselves that they forget the people that helped them to get where they are at this point today. All right, they're busy going to work and going to school and raising their own family, but yet we cannot allow our parents and our grandparents and our aged people, or even your aunt, whatever, we can't allow them to be left in homes and retirement homes and with just caretakers. We need to make time to go by and visit them, spend some time with them, because that can be a very lonely road. I've said that to some people before, and they said, oh, well, this makes sense for me to go and visit my grandparent because they got Alzheimer's, so they don't recognize me. That's okay. They still know there's a human being that's next there to them, holding their hand, or reading a little story for them, or praying with them for a few minutes, or even when I took them out just a little $2, spent $2 and bought them juice. Go spend some time with them and take your children along, because what it will do then, it will teach your children then how to show respect to you when you grow old. All right, but it saddens me to see that our kids are growing up very materialistic, very cocky, very arrogant, very self-centered. It's so much about them that we are fastly losing this Caymanian hospitality, way of life, courtesy, manners that made so many people want to come to our shores. That uniqueness, we're losing that so fast that you sometimes that I wonder again the things that brought people here, that we're losing it. Yeah, so let me encourage us as a people to get back to let our kids watch less TV, get back to teaching our kids again respect, because you know that we as human beings, we're not going to always agree with people. That's fine, that's life, that's reality, but still we got to be able to show courtesy to that person even when we don't agree with them. All right, but especially to older people. We've got to get back to being respectful to the people who have been there for us. We cannot be so busy just building a life for ourselves that we leave our aged ones in homes and retirement homes all to themselves, locked away with caretakers. Go by, spend some time with them, read if it's no more than a one-page little story to them, and Bible story or something comforting. Spend some time with them, and then for the weekend, alright, so if you're going from work to home, that's understandable, but there's such a thing as weekend. Spend some time with elder people, because what you reap, you will sow. If you invest time with older people, when me and you grow old, we will then teach the younger generation how to care for older people, and we might just have them come by and visit us when we grow old. Alright, so let's practice that. Showing respect for the elderly. I appreciate it. I thank you. Bye-bye.